We're recording. Welcome, Peter Borda. I have known Peter Borda for a little while, virtually, but quite incidentally, I lived in Adelaide for many, many years, so we've probably lived in similar suburbs, cross paths somewhere. But regardless, when Peter came into my world, I just knew that this is like a really awesome soul that I want to stay connected with and has got amazing energy. And so I'm bringing him here today to talk with us about morning rituals and routines and how getting them set up enables you to do a whole bunch of things. But I want to let him explain how it's worked for him and why I think he's one of the leaders in this arena. But welcome, Peter. Please give us a hello, and if you could share with us just a little about who you are, what you were doing, and how you ended up in the space where you are right now.
Yeah, awesome. Well, Fiona, thank you so much for the opportunity. It is awesome to be here. And in a snapshot, so who am I? I am a husband, I'm a father, and the rest is just a very distant third or second. But no, in all seriousness, so I take being a dad and being a husband very, very seriously. They're my top values in my life, and my calendar reflects that. It took me a while to and a few bumps and knocks from life to really emphasize that to me after chasing unicorns and all these other things that weren't really me. I spent 11 years in the property industry, so in commercial property, doing retail leasing. And I loved the component where it was finding a win-win, but the environment with which that sort of had to happen, with the corporate environment, with the office buildings and the nothing against office buildings, nothing against suits, but it was just that whole thing, which I know probably most of the viewers can probably relate to. They might still be in that environment. I'm not knocking it. It took me a long time to realize that that's not really where I wanted to be and where I needed to be to contribute the most that I possibly could to this world. I felt like I was successful in it. I did my job well. I got paid well. My ego got stroked every now and again. It felt really good. I had my car park. It was the second top level of the building. It was all good. But then I discovered somebody who was younger than me, fitter than me, more emotionally resilient than me, happier than me. And I thought, well, no, I'm the happiest guy I know. How's this guy doing it? And when I learned about, he started off as a personal trainer, which is what we connected with. And then that led into some really good, deep conversations. And he then referred me to a mentor of his who taught me a lot about neuro-linguistic programming, or NLP, timeline therapy, and finding the meaning, which I've learned a stack about just through reading some really significant books, in finding meaning in the challenges that we encounter. And that has formed the basis now of how I live my life and of what I try and encourage other people to do for themselves, because no one can do it for them. It's up to themselves. And also that hypnotherapy, learning about the rhythm of life and how we can harness that, because it's happening now. People watching this, they're engaged in a trance-like state. If they're engaged in what we're saying, they can pick up the frequency. So just learning how to harness those things, demything them, debunking the myths that are associated with those things, and actually getting back down to, okay, well, what does get a result? And when I experienced them in my own life, that's when I really decided, okay, well, I want to share these with other people. And that's when I discovered the role of a coach. And I love what I do. I've got the Wellness Centre here in Whyalla, which is a beautiful sunny town in beautiful South Australia. And I love it here. We moved here about just over 18 months ago, I think it was, and set the centre up over the last 6 months, just been preparing things and getting the physical space ready. And literally, as we speak, I've just finished the last bit of painting within the last week and a half. So yeah, I'm pumped about that. So that's me in a nutshell. I love being a dad. I love being a husband. I don't take myself seriously at all. I like to laugh at my challenges and my struggles. And I like to sort of look like a third person and go, oh, look at Peter. Look at how he's handling that. And he struggled on that one. You know, he messed up, or he was short with his wife when he loves his wife. Why did he do that? And then how I can see myself getting better. So it's like a do-it-yourself project. And we've all got that opportunity too. So yeah, I'd love to talk about the morning routine, but I hope that answers your question. A little bit of background about me in a snapshot.
Absolutely. And I think a key point that you make there is being able to step back and observe the being, the human. And I think that's something that a lot of my clients struggle with to start with, is that how do I step out of that? And I think that leads into, you know, when we're talking about morning rituals and getting set up for the day and for success. I think when you create those rituals, that actually allows you the space to step back and observe. So I think it's a really, really valid point. And I think, you know, reflecting on myself, from the moment that I learned how to step back and observe, and that started for me in my physical health, like, oh, wow, so if I do that action, this is the outcome. Right, so now I can see correlations of that outcome is actually my responsibility. So that ability to step back, and not just in your health, but in your career, in your relationships, in your money matters, in everything, like your business, you know, starting a side hustle or going full in, that ability to step back for a minute and just observe, like massive, it's like one of the most profound tools I think I've had in the whole journey, because
Absolutely.
it just creates that space from the being in it, the crux of it. Like, yeah.
Awesome.
So I know that we've spoken before in various forms about morning rituals, but I'd love for you to share with us, what is your current morning ritual, and has that changed over time?
Sure, it absolutely has evolved. I've got 3 children, biological, and we've just taken on a 4th beautiful son, who was a bit of a tight spot family-wise. He's just turned 1 a few weeks ago. So we now have a family of 6 of us, and my wife has her own health routines and has her own goals that she wants to achieve in those areas. Managing that with 3 kids, 4 kids now, 5 and under, it's had to evolve. When I was single, I probably wasn't as personally developed as I am now. When I got married, it was just the 2 of us, then 1, 2, 3, now 4 children. It has to evolve. And I think that's probably the first point that I'd like to make is, I mean, give it time, not evolving on a daily basis. It's not like yesterday I did something different to what I did today. It's like, give it a few months at least to really, you know, get the juice out of what might be something that could absolutely change your life. And if it's working, stay with it for 3 months, 3 years, 30 years. If it's getting the results that you want, you've struck gold, stick with it. If your situation changes, if you feel like, no, that's not working for me anymore, and you want to try something different, just go for it. Throw the rule book out and go with what's in here. So what works for me right now is different from what worked for me, you know, even a year ago. But what is working for me right now, in no uncertain terms, is there's a few key components, and what I love about them is that they are free. They're available to everybody at any time of year, and we are abundantly surrounded by them. So the first one is, when I wake up in the morning, I want to get hydrated. So I have a morning mineral cocktail, which I learned from a gentleman called Aubrey Marcus. Sea salt, lemon juice, and apple cider vinegar.
Power brown.
340 mils of water. And so that goes, I wake up, rinse my mouth out first of all, because I've learned that there's a lot of bacteria in there overnight. We lose a lot of hydration overnight if we sweat a little bit, and obviously if we're breathing through our mouth, we're losing some water there. So just to start off with, just top yourself up straight away. Obviously I adjust my fluids the other way as well. And then I'll get into so this morning I did some reading for about an hour. And that's not normal. Normally I'd go and do my workout first after a few warm-up stretches. So just getting the body moving. So hydration is the first thing. Then I get moving. I put the lights on where I'm going. I get up at 5 o'clock in the morning most mornings. So the sun isn't up yet, but I have some bright lights. Not that I'm staring at, but just that I fill the room with the bright lights. That activates the circadian rhythm, which lets our body know you're up, and pretty much it starts the clock from there, and then you're tired earlier. So the earlier you get up and you get that hydration, that movement, and that light into you, your body, it's going to make it easy to go to sleep that night. People that have trouble sleeping, I was like, just get up earlier and do more. Like, get up earlier, let your body know you're up by hydration, movement, and light. And then there's a 4th one, which makes everyone uncomfortable, which is, there we go, we have light. This is the power of what we're talking about here, Fiona.
Wow, there you go.
Hopefully this next one isn't quite as literal for you, although it might be in the world of good. Everyone in the world of good, it's embracing cold. So I've been having a cold shower since, for probably the last couple of years, on and off. But at the start of this year, I was actually listening to something from Jerry Seinfeld, and he said at the start of the year, New Year's resolutions, that sort of jazz, he said, just pick one simple thing that you are going to commit yourself to do every single day, and then don't miss. He said the power that that has, no matter what it is, and I'm challenging everyone here on the video watching this, pick one thing, even if it's to focus on your breath, which you're doing now. If you were just to say, okay, for the next 30 days or 28 days, I'm going to just give myself 5 minutes at any time during the day, from the moment you wake up to the moment you go to bed, just to focus on my breath, even just for 3 minutes, that I'm just going to, but do it every day. Most people will absolutely get to day 4 or 5 and they'll just, oh, I forgot. Well, set an alarm, set a reminder. Until you have established that habit, leverage the technology we have. It's called an alarm clock. I call it an opportunity clock because when it goes off, there's always opportunity, right? And I learned that from Zig Ziglar, another mentor of mine. So anyway, 4 key components: hydration, and these are not mine, and they're not new, and they're not scientific. They're basic. Hydration, movement, light, and then embracing the cold. And in our winter months here in South Australia, especially in Whyalla, when you go outside, there's frost on the grass. The water's very, very cold, and I've noticed it getting colder from the summer months. But I've missed, I think, 4 days that I've missed since the start of this year. For full transparency, no one's perfect, right? But I've missed those 4 days, and that's the way it is. But I've loved the fact that my consistency, I didn't get bogged down about it. I just up it again. So those 4 things, if I was to add a 5th, and again, I want to try and keep it as simple as possible, is to do some sort of mental stimulation that's going to put me in a good frame of mind. It's deliberately seeking out good material and putting that into my head. Even if I wake up feeling negative, which often happens, I don't bounce out of bed. Like, people think that, oh, Pete, you've always got so much energy, rah, rah. I'm like, yeah, cool. It's a deliberate choice. And I do the things that equal energy, that equal smiling, that equal making me feel good. If you want to change the output, you've got to first change the input. And so when I started changing the input and putting, like I say, good movement, that just naturally gets things going. The cold, I've never walked out of a cold shower angry or frustrated or upset or, feeling like I was hard done by in this life. I've always felt uplifted. This is every single time. I've missed 4 days. I remember those 4 days. I can absolutely guarantee there's been not one cold shower that I've probably ever had that resulted in me feeling depressed or anxious or nervous. I've always felt bounding with energy. I go out and meet the kids after a cold shower. They don't know what hit them. I'm like, I've got more energy than they do. And they get a lot of energy. The 5-year-old, 4-year-old, 2-year-old, and 1-year-old. So they're the ingredients. Again, it's hydration's the first thing, because we're always going to lose some hydration. And most people run at dehydration levels anyway before they go to bed. So when they wake up, that's dropped even more. So it's just about replenishing that basic stuff, even if it was just a glass of water. Like, everyone's got a tap in their house, right? So water, getting moving. Hopefully everyone can do that. And even if you can't, even if you're in a wheelchair, get your upper body moving. Let's find a reason that you can do it. And then get into a well-lit environment. And then if you game enough, and I cannot recommend this highly enough, embrace the cold. Even if it was just washing your hands in cold water at winter time, splashing that water on your face. That's a bit uncomfortable sometimes. Plunging into a plunge pool or walking under a cold water, it's just full on, but it's awesome. Instant results, scientifically proven to reduce the rates of depression as well. And there'll be plenty more coming out about that in coming years as well, when science catches up to experience, which is, you don't have to wait for the report, just go and do it for 30 days and you can, thank us later.
Yeah.
How good you feel. You will feel great. So I know that was a bit of a wordy response, but that's the morning routine, and it changes over time, but you just got to go with what you are getting the result from.
Yeah, and I love that you talk about the cold shower. I first learned about cold showers when I started learning about health and wellbeing, 7 years ago or whatever. And I thought, oh my God, how freaking crazy would you be to choose a cold shower? But it's seriously, like, when you do it, it's like, it opens up like the energy to your cells. Like, you have to be awake. Like, you can't be like, cold shower. Like, you're like, oh, this is a cold shower. But it stimulates everything. And I've recently listened to Wim Hof and tried some of the methods. I'm not an expert yet. But, his explanation, I guess, of how he discovered it and how he embraces it, and like literally takes crowds of people out now into the coldness, and like, just the health benefits are phenomenal, and it's not something you have to pay to go and do. Like, you can, nature was intended for us to heal. So, you know, it's really great we have all these day spas now, but you can, if you are resourceful enough, use these ways to start to heal your body and change the energy state, and create these kind of success principles through the doing, I guess. Yeah. And I love that, the simplicity of the, you know, as you talk about the 5 principles that you mention, is that you don't need to have some kind of uni degree to do them. You don't need to have a live-in health practitioner. You don't, like, you are a human with availability to all of these things. It's potentially just that we haven't linked how, you know, when they compound together, the impact is so huge on a daily basis. And I think that's the key thing. It's not once a week we do these things. It's having a regular wake up time and committing to that. And seriously, when you start setting that new wake up time, it's a bit of a struggle to start with. I know for me, when I started to embrace getting up earlier, and so I didn't have to run around like a mad woman before work, I just started, you know, because that was apparently normal, embracing just getting up 15 minutes earlier. And once I nailed that, then I stretched it another 15 minutes, and taking pressure off of, well, what am I meant to do with these 15 minutes? When you wake up 15 minutes earlier, that 15 minutes feels like hours. Like, you can put the washing on, you can get your meal ready for the day, you can, you know, do some study for 15 minutes. So embracing that and then creating the structure worked for me. So it was not putting any pressure first. It was just getting up earlier. And then once I'd nailed the getting up, then putting in the structure. And now if I don't do that structure, the day is just a bit weird. I don't know how to handle it. It's not the same.
Yeah. And that's, I think, the bit that reverses, is that initially it feels weird to do the routine, but once you've done it enough and you've seen how good it is, it feels weird not to do it, not to have that dependable, I mean, even if you're traveling or if you're in a place where it's not your normal situation, I'll still do some exercises. Everyone has a floor. Like, wherever they are, everyone has a floor. Drop down, do some push-ups, do some sit-ups, do some squats. Like, that's it. That's it. No equipment, no nothing. A flat floor in 1 or 2 square meters, if that. Even a rectangular shape area next to your bed will do the trick. But can I just divert for 1 second here? Because I think I love talking about morning routines. I could do it all day long. And a lot of my clients get very annoyed when I start going on about the cold shower, and they're just like, but I just love my warm showers so much. You don't understand, Peter. I'm like, no, you don't understand that when you've been in freezing cold water in the morning, when it is icy on the windows, that's cold. That night, I've earned my hot shower. Guess how much I appreciate every droplet of water that isn't freezing cold. I would suggest, and it's not about comparison, but I would suggest that I would have a greater appreciation of it. So you don't know what you got until it's gone. You appreciate it more when you lose it. Getting back to it. So everyone has water in their house. Everyone has a light switch. Everyone can move their body. And cold water, you don't have to pay any more for cold water. So everyone's got those 4 things. It's not a matter of if somebody can do it. It's a matter of, will somebody do it? First conversation I'll have with a prospective client that wants to, you know, harness some of my energy or learn a few tricks or whatever, I say, you don't need me. You don't need a coach. You don't need my sessions. You don't even need my programs, online, whatever. You don't need them. I tell them up front, you just need to make a choice to do the thing, to drop down and do 5 push-ups. Everyone can do 1 or 2. You can at least do that. But would you do it? Would you do 2 push-ups a day and focus on your breathing for 1 minute a day? But would you do that every day? And if the answer is no, well, then the program ain't going to do it. No matter how much you invest in yourself financially, until you make the choice to do it, nothing will happen. But here's the thing. Maybe it's thousands of dollars. Maybe it's workshops left, right, and center. Maybe it's traveling overseas to meet with gurus. Maybe that's what it takes for the person to then go, I got it now. And if that's what it takes, then it's worth every penny. It's worth every kilometer traveled. It's worth every hour in a workshop. It's worth every video watched. Because once you got it, it's like you just wake up and it's incredible. But what I suggest to my clients is, I'm not going to teach you anything new, but I'm probably more than likely going to shorten the time frame it takes you to get to that point you need to get to. And if that means that I have to, encourage and nudge and whatever, and have some uncomfortable conversations at the front, then I'm happy to be that pain in the ass that gets you to that decision of, oh my gosh, okay, I don't need to be in a hospital bed until I quit smoking, or until I lose weight, or until I start eating right and moving right. I'm going to do it now because I've seen that vision of how my life could be if I pick up my game, and how it is going to be if I just keep doing what I'm doing. And then you bring that choice into the now moment, and then you move down that pathway then. But just one other quick thing, it's never gotten easier for me to get out of bed. So as much as I know what I'm going to do now, I would say it's the same amount of challenge. Like, it's the same amount of that I've got to use to get the thing going in the morning. So I just wanted to I say that just to level with people that you're not going to get that much easier, but you at least are going to know that the results are worth it. And hey, what's the alternative? Like, you die early and live an average, poor health life. That's what if that's what you're living right now, don't change anything. Nothing will change for you. If you step up, you got the whole world at your feet, and that's awesome.
Yeah. And it literally could be as easy as only investing 30 minutes a day, like with that
total
foundation in the morning. So anything above that is like, wow, that's like not sugar on the top, icing on the cake, but really bad, like, kind of analogies. But that's the extra gold that's going to buy you more years. So the uncomfortable now of going to get out of bed and everyone else is sleeping and it's a bit chilly. Yeah, sure, but like, you're going to miss out years by just giving up half an hour in the morning. Like, sometimes I feel like, we spend a lot of time in uncomfortable now, in comfortable now rather than being uncomfortable, but for not really much gain. Like,
correct.
You enjoy uncomfortable now and die earlier. Like, literally, that's the crux of it all. So, I don't know. Humans, we're very fascinating.
The book called The Slight Edge by Jeff, and it talks about exactly what you just mentioned there, of what is comfortable now becomes uncomfortable later. And what is uncomfortable now becomes comfortable later. And this is, again, we have a society that puts so much pressure on themselves, sort of artificially, I guess, like it's self-imposed pressure or stresses that we then don't have. We're worn out. So by the time it comes to go for the jog, or to discipline our eating habits, or to put ourselves into a stressful situation, my body freaks out when it gets into cold water. It's getting better, but it's a stress on my body. Going to the gym is a stress on my body. Taking on a fourth child, it's a stress on emotions and time and resources in left, right, and center. But it's because I've freed up all the other stress. I don't have a corporate job anymore. I don't have a massive mortgage anymore. And that's not because I've paid it all off. It's because I've downsized by choice, because I'm not trying to keep up with the neighbors anymore. If they have a big car and a nice house, I'm happy for them. And I hope that they are fulfilled inside as well. There's a massive bonus. But the point is, we've got to remove some of the external stresses and just calm the heck out. Like, just chill out. And then we can put ourselves into positive, stressful situations, like having the conversations with our partner about sex, or, raising children, or where we want to be in 5 years' time, and being a bit vulnerable. We can put the positive stress on ourselves, like working out and disciplining our eating habits, and going in embracing the thermal exercise, which Pop talks about, which is embracing the cold. We can put ourselves through that because we've got a reservoir of effort that we can put in there, because it hasn't been sapped by our boss riding our, ass, or whatever else it might be, or traffic. Traffic used to freak me out, and it still does for most people. Imagine not having to travel, or imagine turning that travel time into learning time and not being so frazzled or stressed. Imagine removing that part of your life. You get so much energy back that you can then redeploy in other areas. Bring it back in. It starts with your morning routine. If you can be calm in a cold shower, and this has been my biggest challenge, is not, it's not freaking, just going, no, I know it's cold and it's doing me good, and I'm embracing this moment of being right here, right now, and it's not going to last for long, and it's doing me good. It's maintaining that composure. If I can do that when my body's being flooded with cold water, when everyone else around me is losing their shit, I'm going to stay calm. And I want to be the one that, I want to be the shade-giving tree that provides refuge for other people. They're going to look to me and go, why is he so calm? How come he's not freaking out like the rest of us? That's me. I made that choice. That's the person I want to be. And I'm doing the things that are helping me be that. And I encourage everybody else, if that's something that appeals to you, hey, make the changes, make the choices to become like that.
I love it. I'm so in love with it.
It's fun.
I think when you get it, and I mean in the sense of, some people might be hearing this for the first time in terms of creating a foundation for the day, or they've heard it before and they've tried it and they've kind of, waned a bit. And like when you get it and you put it into play, I language it like, have I just lost Peter? I language it like creating a house. Like, so you need a good foundation every day. Then you can put up the walls, you can put up the roof, that might be your career and your relationships and your money and, your business, whatever it is. But this foundation is like rocky. Like you wake up, you're rushing around, you don't know what you're going to eat for the day. You're like, fuck, I didn't do my homework, whatever, like all this stuff. Then the day will continue to reflect that. Like I don't think there's any coming back from that start into a space of calm, or I'm rocking out, I'm succeeding, I'm building a business. It's just chaos after chaos. And people are like, I don't understand why I'm experiencing this. I'm like, so what time do you get up in the morning? Oh, like 10 to 7 and I leave at 7. I'm like, well, fuck, there's your first problem. Like, and what are you eating for breakfast? Nothing, because I haven't got time. So then I don't eat until lunchtime. I'm like, whoa, there's the second problem. Okay, so like, it's just this whole state of disarray, physically and mentally. And then we're like, oh, so how come I'm not creating success in any area of my life right now? It's like, because you need to just get a really nice solid foundation on a day-to-day basis. And I think when we break it right down to just focus on what you need to do today, and then tomorrow will come and you can focus on tomorrow. But if you're so far ahead thinking about next week, next year, etc., and today is like rocky, I feel like that, that future stuff you're looking at, it's not really going to come into alignment here, because you're like all over the place, like just craziness. So yeah.
You got it.
So I think you did cover off, what would you recommend if people are going to get started, and then, your 5 foundational pieces. But let's say they want to just start with one thing. What would be the first thing you would recommend that they get in order, get sorted, focus on, and when they've nailed that, then add the next thing?
Awesome. So as far as one component goes, I'm going to have to go and zoom out a little bit. It would have to be getting clear on why they're doing it in the first place. Because if they're doing it because you and I say it works for us and they're going to try it out, then they're just as quickly going to let it go, because they're going to say, oh no, that first shower was uncomfortable. Of course it was. My shower this morning after 2 years of doing it, it's still uncomfortable. But the point is, I know why I'm doing it, and I'm doing it. And if I die today or tomorrow, it's been a great time. I've had a great journey, and I've enjoyed the instant return on my cold showers, on my early mornings, on all the books that I've been reading, on all the time I've carved out of my calendar. In fact, I don't carve time out of my calendar for my kids anymore. I carve time out to do things that are productive and work related. But time for my kids, that's the baseline. That's what I'm doing. If I'm not doing those other things, I'm with my kids and my wife. So getting clear on one thing is why they would adopt that habit anyway. So why the cold shower? Why get up earlier? And also on that note, why are you going to work? Why are you working where you're working? I get you have to work. I get that. I thought I had to work in a corporate job and I had to earn 6 figures and I had to have a house in this suburb and I had to have goals for a Lamborghini and a Ferrari and a BMW. I had to have those things because that's what it was all about. That's what I was hearing from places. But you got to question everything. And so the first question that I would ask when it comes to morning routine is, why am I getting up that bit earlier anyway? Why am I getting up that bit earlier? And once you get clear on that, and that could be a process, your program's probably going to really help with that. Any program, any book could be a turning point in that regard. Getting really, really practical, like one thing that they could do is go to sleep in your gym gear or have it easily accessible the next morning. So I have my shoes literally right, I know exactly where they are, so that when I went and I sleep with socks on now, because it's quite cold at night time. So all I have to do is put on my gym pants and my tracksuit top if I'm not already sleeping in it, and I'm good to go. I have my drink. I think the one thing is preparation, is what I'm trying to say. Because it's not just your gym gear. I've got my morning mineral cocktail prepared the night before. Because when I wake up, I don't want to be stumbling around cutting a lemon in half and squeezing a lemon and then tipping all this in. It's like, you're working in a lab. I do that the night before. And then I just pick it up from the fridge, take the top off, and drink. Done. That's my hydration done. I'm already in my gym gear. Then I flick the lights on and I start moving. Like, we're already halfway there before, within 5 minutes. Preparation. Just think and then get ready for it. And then the next morning when your opportunity clock goes off and you hear that beautiful sound, you go, wow, a lot of people didn't wake up this morning. A lot of people woke up cold, not in a bed. I'm awake in a warm bed and I've got choices, baby. And I'm going to make a choice right now to get up, get my morning mineral cocktail into me, turn the lights on, drop to the floor and do 5 push-ups. And once I get to 5, I might even do 6. When I get to 6, I might even do 7. And since I've done 7, I may as well do some squats or some burpees or some sit-ups or whatever. And since I've taken care of my health, I might have a decent breakfast. And since I've done that, I might actually watch a good program tonight rather than watching a soap opera or some crap. I might actually listen to a good audiobook. It's preparedness, and then it flows from there.
Yeah, I think that's a really key point, is that once you start with something, it starts to feed in. It's that way of being. It's that you might not nail it every time, but right, so I've learned something from that. That didn't work in there, but now I'm going to keep trying. And I think a beautiful part that you mentioned there, which I feel like when you start to show up on a daily basis with whatever you're committing to, then it's like this dome of gratitude starts to form. So instead of, I can't believe I have to fucking get up early and I have to do this and I have to have that, it's more like, actually, and I remember when I was in a really tough part in my life, every morning when I woke up, I'd say, I made it through another day. I made it through another day. And there are people that are not doing that, not able to do that, whether that might be by choice or whether that be because of ill health from previous choices maybe. So this dome of gratitude starts to, sure, it's a cold shower, but we're really lucky that we have the choice to have hot and cold. There are people who don't get a shower. There are people who haven't woken up from a warm bed, who don't have someone next to them that they're grateful for, that they're sharing their world with. So this gratitude starts to almost override any of that, shit, I've got to do this, I've got to do that. Because at the end of the day, you don't got to do nothing. But
correct.
Digging in and going, I'm going to do this, and I'm going to be really grateful for the opportunity and the learning. And, every day becomes based on that. And I feel like that's where positivity links into of, well, how can you be so happy all the time? How can you be positive? Because I choose to, because I'm really grateful that I am here and I'm breathing. Sure, like I didn't get the perfect car spot and I didn't whatever, and a bill came because I parked in the wrong spot. I know, I'm just making up stuff, but it's being able to kind of overcome that and go, hey, that's just a part of life, and I'm really grateful that I have that. At the crux of all gratitude, I think, is a reminder that you have life. So you might not have the Ferrari, but then again, is that your thing? I resonate massively about, I thought that I had to have the corporate life and the handbags and the 6 figures and the shoes and the living in the penthouse and by the beach and the car and blah, blah, blah. And I was trying that, and it was actually also fake for me. And when I kind of removed some of that stuff and got back to the crux of it, I actually want to go and live in the country. I don't want to be in a city anymore. So it's this real awakening of, of course, and being by the beach and in countryside, that's what makes me happiest. Oh, now I understand why I wanted to maybe live in the nice house at the beach, but it's not that penthouse. It's a different kind of house. And, so I think, again, the foundations of each day allow space to become more awake about some of this stuff as well.
Yeah. Good word, awake, awareness, present now. Once you get in that moment, everything starts to make more sense. And what you just said then, replacing I have to with I get to, that's one of those foundational things. I get up earlier now, more consistent. I work harder now when I don't have to than when I had to. It's just...
Me too.
Yeah.
Me too. Just like, I get to choose to. You know, I could sit on the couch every night, and sometimes I do because that's my family time. But that's, you know, it's different now. It's like, well, I might do that for a little bit of time, and then I'll go back into the office and knuckle down and get another hour's worth of stuff done, or study, or ideas, or writing, or, you know, it's because I'm grateful that I have that opportunity to, you know, it's really interesting. I love it.
Yeah, it is. We could talk all day long about it.
I know. So, in thanking you from my bottom of my heart, and I'm sitting here going, oh God, I need to team up with Peter. I just need to get him to coach me for a bit, because I needed a little bit of a kick in bum and a bit of clarity and this and this. But if people want to find you and find out what you're about and what you do, and maybe they're in the vicinity, or maybe they want to hang out online with you, please give yourself a massive, massive plug, because I know how much work you have put into creating this life, and it's, you know, blossomed, and being able to be inspired by what you do myself. You know, thank you so much. So please shout out for yourself.
You are so welcome, Fiona. It's an absolute pleasure. When you say blossomed, it's funny you say that, because I feel like it's blossoming. Like it's this process of blossoming. I know exactly what you mean. Interestingly, my life was referred to just recently by someone I know, of course, as they were referring it to their own life, and they said, unfortunately, Pete, my life hasn't turned out as much like a fairy tale as yours. And I just thought, oh, that's so interesting you say that, because if you only knew my story, you wouldn't be calling it a fairy tale. There's definitely a happy ending, but this doesn't feel like the end at all. This feels like we're just getting started here. But it's when you've gone through hellfire, and we've all had our own hellfire that we have to go through. But once you're there and you're living a life that looks free, everyone's going to think that it was just lucky. They're going to think you got the Midas touch.
Overnight.
They're going to think it's okay for Fiona because she's just like that. You know, she's just good at those sorts of things. Yeah. But so people like that will fail to look behind the scenes. The reason why people say they're an overnight success is because no one ever knew of them while they weren't a success. But it didn't just happen. They were just working away. They were below the surface, working. But we only see them when they break through the surface. And so then we go, well, where were they the other day? I didn't know about them the day before. Lady Gaga, I'm like, where did she pop out from? I mean, I don't necessarily agree with all the lyrics of her songs, but her story is pretty amazing. I digress. Anyway, so if someone likes my energy and would like to know more about me, I've set up a group on Facebook called Living Life Like a Holiday. I'm live in that group every Monday at 7 a.m. That's Australian Central Standard Time. I have people from all over the world in that group. It's been building up over the last 3 years, and it's a really safe place. I am the admin. I monitor it like a hawk. There's a few people that have tried to bombard it with negativity, propaganda, or whatever else. I mean, if anyone's doing propaganda in my group, it's me, and it's going to be good, wholesome propaganda. But anyone else who's selling anything or whatever, it's just, no, look, one warning, and then you're out. So it's a very safe place. A lot of the members feel very, very comfortable to share. A lot of people from the group have connected individually, which is awesome to support each other and help each other. So it's called Living Life Like a Holiday, because that's exactly what I'm doing. Every day feels like Saturday, even on a Monday. And it is just, it's a beautiful thing. And I want to share. And that's why I want to do it every week, is because I want to let people know, hey, look, it's not what I think you should do. I'm doing it now. These are the things, these are the principles, the philosophies that are proven, and I am proving them now, not for anybody else's benefit, although I know that's the byproduct, so that I can be a better dad and a better husband and a better coach. So if they're working for me, I just want to share those things. That's the best place to go. And people can connect with me through Facebook is probably the quickest and best way. I'm pretty good at responding to Facebook messages. Of course, if they want to find out what I do locally here in Whyalla, they can jump on the Wellness Centre Whyalla Facebook page, but that's an optional extra. Living Life Like a Holiday is a living, breathing group. It's a daily thing for me, and it's a weekly thing that I'm live in. And if someone wants to connect and have a quick chat, no obligation to continue. There's not going to be a sales pitch. If someone likes my energy, just give me a call. Reach out on Facebook, and if you're up for a conversation, I can sugarcoat it a little bit. I can put a little bit of sweetener in there for you at the start. just so we can build some rapport. And then if you're ready to have some really good conversation that's going to help you turn the corner, then that's what I get out of bed for.
I love it. I love it so much. Thank you. Firstly, thank you to the universe for connecting us, however that happened a couple of years ago. Thank you for taking the time to share your insight. My God, if we could just take that, transcribe it, and sell it as a book, it'd be freaking gold. And for everyone watching, please don't be afraid to reach out to Peter. He will respond to you. He will make contact with you. As you can see, it is all natural energy. It's not putting on a front. And if you can find people that are like this and in your space, then you can, kind of permeates with you, and you start to become more like that. You can, as Peter says, share. He's sharing how he's doing it now, not look, here's the Instagram file and go and kind of tap in when you feel like it. He's real, he's raw. As he mentioned, it's been a journey. Again, people see the fairy tale ending, but the stuff that literally does happen behind the scenes, getting up at 5 a.m., staying committed, relocating family, and then taking on more children in just this beautiful way and space. I think it speaks, what do they say? Speaks in leaps and bounds. So, please, I hope that you have received some value by watching this video, by hearing from Peter. Again, go follow him on Facebook. He's just amazing energy. And thank you so much for your time today. I can't give you enough gratitude from my heart.
No, I can feel it, Fiona. It's all good. It's all good. Thank you.
Awesome. Thank you.